Hey, Inspire Tribe, my fellow freedom lovers. It's John Nolan here. Thank you so much for tuning in. It is Friday, July 5th, 2024. We're healthy, we're wealthy, we're whole, we're free. Thank you for being with us on X, on Rumble, on YouTube. Welcome into live chat. I see so many of our dear viewers, some who've been with us since the beginning. Raymond is here. I see Mark is here. Good to see you. Scott Navel, Jay Frog, Little Things. And we're going to go a little more into who's here. Ronnie, good to see you, my friend. Anna is here. But I really want to kick this off by saying, first and foremost, this is not a fear mongering or a fear porn live stream. We're not into that. We are looking at some very, very solid data. And that very solid data suggests that we are a mere days away from probably maybe a life-changing, society-changing event. And it seems to be something that will continue to reverberate into the future. Now, this is not prophecy. This is not even psychism, if you will, in the regular sense. We're looking at remote viewing data, and we're looking at some other data here. And this was really sparked by, and here's how we find this. I'm very intuitive when it comes to what kind of information I look at. Once I have the clear intuition, this is it, I go deep into the data and I try to see what I can find. Usually my approach is to not listen to others. So I usually don't know what others have been saying about this. In this particular case, that's virtually impossible because this is what some others have been saying. However, these are some of the most prolific remote viewers in the world today. And a guy that has developed a technique, and we've talked about him before, his name's Cliff High, and he's developed a technique that analyzes language. And basically the premise was, he discovered this many years ago. He's very well respected within the, let's say, a little broader minded scientific community, very well respected, by the way. And we asked him to come on to talk to us before, and he's just not interested in doing interviews. But okay, so I'll quickly tell you how his data gathering method kind of works, and then I'll tell you what he has seen, and then we'll play a clip about 7 minutes long of Dick Allgeier of the Future Forecasters. This is the group I'm talking about, as to what they're seeing. And they have, Cliff has a very specific date in mind, by the way, also. So first, to talk about Cliff High, who is sort of a early adopter of technology, computers, programming, and we shared his story before. But really, he developed. He was on a flight. I remember that story, and there was something on that flight. I don't think it was lightning, whatever. But he saw in a few people on that flight that they were expressing something that was connected to that lightning that hit the plane, I think, a few seconds before that. And it kind of dawned on him that we all have psychic abilities, and that humanity, or a lot of people within humanity, are using certain language. There's a buildup of certain language that seems out of place in a conversation, that seems out of place within the context of the conversation, and that those language patterns point to a future event. That's what allowed him to basically predict cryptocurrencies, what allowed him to predict the crash in 08 and whatnot. And he has his own algorithm to do that. He's basically scanning the internet for language, because he says people are subconsciously releasing language that points to a future event and they don't even know it. So this is kind of very simplified his data gathering. So he's seeing, and he has these numeric values where he can measure tension over a buildup. And so, there was a tension buildup before 9/11, and then 9/11 was the release event, right? When that tension is released. He's seeing a tension buildup and release event for July 15th that he hasn't seen before. And by the way, we put the link to that particular clip where he talks about this in the description, so you can watch it later for yourself. And I jotted down a few things here didn't have time to even go into putting it into a format. But what he is seeing is an event that will revolve in some way, shape, or form around UFOs and aliens, and that the event will be very well captured on camera, security cameras, cell phones. So it won't be a discussion of whether the event happened, but it will be what exactly did we witness? What did people see? And so he sees a huge tension buildup over July 15th, and he equated it to 1,000, the tension buildup, until 1:15 a.m. of July 16th, and then a release back to 300, which is still pretty significant. And then he says, basically, it will change the entire human discussion in some way. Moving forward, we're going to talk about this for months and months, even years. About 10% of the population are going to be involved in thinking about this event, explaining it, or whatever. The government's going to respond to that with, some task force to work on this. And it will be a major subject moving forward. So it'll literally change things. A lot of what matters about this event might be unseen to humans, and he's saying the 15th is his best accurate projection. It could be another day, but he says it just points to that day. And again, this is not me talking. And that it will be something very significant. So that is kind of the Cliff High thing. Again, we put the link in the description, but here's a video that I found on War Correspondent. He did an interview with Dick Allgeier from the Future Forecasters. And again, this is a remote viewing group. They have a very scientific double-blind study method, a double-blind method where they get absolutely they get a data point to remote view that doesn't tell them pretty much anything. And then they have a team around the world that each does their own session on this, and then they compare notes. They were accurately predicting the October 7 event in Israel, where they equated it to a new 9/11 event, which was done, in the media was equated to a new 9/11 event. And they did the same thing for the Lahaina fires. You can go and look into their past track record. This is a scientifically minded group of people. They go about it very scientifically, and remote viewing is something that it's not a myth. It's very well studied. There have been programs by the intelligence communities, by the military apparatus on this. It's an open secret that this is being used by all governments of the world today. So let's look into this video together. It's about 7 minutes, and I'd like to watch it with you together, and then we can.
So why have you manifested
this phenomena you're suggesting here? We had talked about this maybe the year prior with the Luminosity event, where sometimes you're tasked to look at something, but there's something else just in front of you that's so bright that it's impossible to see anything else. Now, are you suggesting also, given the example you just gave now, that this is where we're going perhaps for the July 15th event that seems to be pinging on everybody's radar, from the psychics to the remote viewers to the predictive linguistic data? Is that what you're suggesting also for that?
Yes. Yes, we did another future target last month, and I wasn't told. I still am double blind. I don't know who tasked it or what it was. I just know that we didn't get data congruent to that tasking. I know that it was something involving the year 2050, I think. And it may be a little harder to, we think the future is it's a set of variables, like a forming wave that coalesces into the now. And it may be that so many variables to 2050, or it may have been a poorly tasked target, or the remote viewers may have been having a bad day, but we got similar stuff to it was similar to what happened prior to the October 11 thing. So then Cliff High came out with his web bots saying that something big is going to happen in mid-July. And let's talk about Cliff for a minute. Have you been following Cliff since like prior to 2008? How long have you
Oh
known
yeah, I used to buy the Alta reports and the IDIRs. Also, we have been following him for quite some time. Yeah.
Cliff came on my radar, early 2000s, and I remember in 2006, 2007, he said in the fall of 2008, there's going to be a big event that will reverberate for years, and
Yeah.
it was the 2008 financial crash, and he described that to a T.
Yeah.
That was one of the best. I don't want to say psychic prediction. He uses web bots to scour the internet to get the language.
Yeah.
And it's what it is human beings have a collective consciousness field that can pick up these big events, and they start talking about it without knowing it by typing things on the internet. And Cliff,
he got the 9/11 right. He got the Bandiachi quake right. He got the blondes on boat, that capsized boat in Italy. Sun disease. He got the new money, the new
form of money that he didn't understand what it was before anybody had ever heard of Bitcoin. Because I do remote viewing on this stuff, I try to isolate myself. So I love Cliff, and I listen to him, but I try to do it after the fact.
Right.
I try to have a lag. So I haven't heard what he's said about this. So we were given a double blind target. We said, here's your target ID, F8D6-Q7F2. That's all we're told. And I sit down and the 5 of us do data. The target Q was extreme tension event, global effective scope, July 15th, 2024. The remote viewer is to describe the reason for Cliff High's 3x graphic movement. He said there's going to be an extreme release.
Emotional tension and release the next day.
This is my data. I'm looking at land. I see a lot of people looking at a big energy event. Lots of people see some big dynamic energy release thing, but I say it might be manufactured. Big sky, dramatic cell phone videos. Isn't Cliff say it would be recorded?
Captured everywhere. Yeah, on video.
Now, I wonder if he got that from his data or from our data. Because he's looked at it. We may be cross-pollinating.
Not sure at this point. Yeah.
Okay. So I had sounds of people going, oh, wow, I smell dust, gigantic plume. But I say it's enhanced, it's created, it's designed. And those words come to me when I see this image, that little face icon down there. I probe one of the radios for kinesthetics, and these are words and ideas that pop into my mind spontaneously without me trying to figure it out. So a big thing, but it's designed. Let's go to the next one, and I think I have another version of that.
Yeah,
I'm looking at people. I say there is a projected image. People watch in awe. They're spellbound. It's a created image. It's manipulated, projected, lots of noise. This is to induce some state in the population.
Are we talking Project Bluebeam here? If you're going to add that,
that's kind of what came to mind.
Right.
Okay.
Wow.
So next one.
Okay.
Is when you're doing this as a remote viewer, you're trying not to figure it out. You're just getting the data from your subconscious and putting it on quickly, moving on. Next I saw, and this was something I've never seen in all my remote viewing. This looked like the human nervous system. Like I see a bundle of nerves, and the word ganglia came to mind, like the human nervous system. It is being charged or stimulated by some artificial stimulus. It could be EMF or some charged field. Something is activated. This feels like an event Cliff High would predict. Oh, wow. I didn't know that until just this moment that I'd written that was the tasking was Cliff High's event. So wow, that's good data right there. This is Daz Smith.
Yeah.
He says, this is destructive, covert, planned operatives, an assassination or removal plan.
That sounds like what Alan Jones was
aim is to destabilize, shock, freeze an entire country. Feels like the U.S. AOL dirty bomb. I get a real feel that this will be a 2024 version of a 9/11 type event.
Wow.
Okay.
So that's Daz also being tasked with the July 15th double blind. Yeah. Okay. Very good. Let me bring up the
next. This is Daz again.
Okay.
He says, vaguely concerned from them, their heads, we need to be very careful here. I feel like I glimpsed a scenario event prepared for or planned for or something similar discussed maybe. So that's his data, a big event that was like planned or even powerful.
Okay, so this was taken from a longer interview, and I would encourage you, we put the link to that interview. You can watch the full 1 hour and 11 minutes, I believe, down in the description, as well as the Cliff High clip. It's shorter. It's like 25 minutes, the audio. But, you know, we're not into dates usually. I don't like the idea of, you know, oh, there's this big event coming. But this kind of remote viewing data that is, you know, done by people who are not into fear mongering, fear porn. And if you follow Dick Algar, if you watch his style, his conversations, and his team, there's, you know, there's no sensationalism. They're really about their skills, about the data that they receive, and then when they seem or when they feel it's very important, they go and push this out to the public. When something is pushed out to the public, it changes the mass consciousness. So sometimes when, for example, they pick up a planned bad event, like a really destructive event, they try to push it out so people become aware of it. And then it's harder for those who perpetrate these events to actually see it through, or they have to make it smaller, or they have to change something. So there's a method to all of this. What was interesting about this was the spine part, was the nervous system part, was the infusion part. I think we're looking at a lot of the dots coming together. That's my intuitive feeling here. I think a lot of the dots that have been put in place through medical interventions through the last 4 years and through other stuff, I think it is supposed to come to a culmination. But I quickly wanted to talk to you about Project Bluebeam. For those who don't know what it is or what it refers to, it's just a very, very simple overview of something that's been around in the truther or freedom community circles for many, many years. And this is what this alludes to, what they talked about when they said Project Bluebeam. So the theory suggests that governments would use advanced technologies such as holograms and sound waves to create convincing simulations in the sky. And this is, of course, you know, we've seen this in the 1980 when were the Los Angeles Olympics. So remember when we saw that alien hologram, that was in the 80s. So, you know, the technology is there. And these could depict religious figures or extraterrestrial events aiming to unify the world or under one religion, or cause confusion and awe, leading to societal restructuring. So then there's the mind control and psychological warfare aspect. A key aspect of the theory is the use of telecommunications to control thoughts and feelings directly. This could involve broadcasting frequencies or messages that affect human psychology, subduing opposition to a new global governance structure, for example. Another element involves the creation of artificial disasters like earthquakes or weather anomalies, supposedly to make populations more pliable or to justify heavy-handed government interventions. The culmination of these events, according to the theory, would be the introduction of a new global religion. This religion would be based on the teachings of a new Messiah figure, manufactured using the holographic technology and psychological manipulation techniques previously mentioned. So this is kind of what has been floating around, and there's much more details. There's people that have gone into this. There are whistleblowers that have come out. There are a lot of people. There's this famous little clip from the assistant at the time, and some of you will remember her name, and it slipped my mind right now, of Werner von Braun, who said that he kept saying that the last card that they have would be the fake alien invasion, which a fake alien invasion would be something like Project Bluebeam. This might or might not be connected to what Dick Allgeier or Cliff High are talking about here, or the remote viewers are talking about here. However, what is sticking out is the intensity. Like Dick said, there are things about this event he hasn't seen before. Like Cliff said, there are numbers and intensities about this event they haven't seen before. So either way, whether something visibly unfolds or not, although they're very positive it will be visible, I have zero fear around it, and I would suggest that you don't give in to any kind of fear. If we look at it from the standpoint of the wannabe elites and the masters, we have said before that if they want to bring on another 2020-like situation where it's not easy to do that, right? You have to have a lot of ducks in a row to mesmerize pretty much everyone on earth who has access to media, and to have a streamlined stream of information that very much says the same thing everywhere in the world, and that exudes a lot of control over people. It's not easy to do that. This is, such a coordinated event like 2020. It's like a masterful operation. However, I have said this before, and I'll say this again. For those of you who haven't seen it, I encourage you to go and search for Event 201, which was a pandemic preparedness event that was simulating a novel coronavirus outbreak in October of 2019. And guess who was involved and who put it on? Johns Hopkins, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the CDC, the Chinese CDC, media. They were coming together for this huge preparation event in October of 2019 called Event 201. They simulated the entire thing. If you watch how they simulated it, it is pretty much like it played out just a few months and then years later. So why I'm bringing this up over and over again is because if people had paid attention to Event 201 in October of 2019, guess what couldn't have unfolded in this way through 2020, 21, and 22? It couldn't have. When there is awareness, you just go, no, that's just too eerie. There's just too many similarities. There's something else going on here. So this is why I think that when we get information that appears to be solid, we need to share it, right? Because from a standpoint of our opposition of these forces, they have to, in order to get the same effect or more intense than 2020, they have to put on an event that is either so massive in its scale, so all-encompassing in its consequences, or so novel, unlike anything anyone has ever seen other than maybe in a movie. So you have to think of it from that standpoint. If you want to understand how this could unfold, you have to think like they think and think, okay, what would guarantee us a level of attention that is unseen, unheard of? A volcano doesn't do that anymore. It just doesn't. It will affect people where the volcano is, but it won't do a worldwide thing for people attention-wise. Earthquakes, all these disasters. I mean, for crying out loud, Turkey and Syria had an earthquake where I think 700,000 people ended up dying. When did you see the world talking about it for longer periods of time? No. Hurricanes don't do that anymore. Tornadoes don't do that anymore. Health scares are having a hard time, the avian flu stuff, pushing through. So here you have to think like they do. Okay, so we have to do something that is so novel, so unheard of, so mesmerizing for the crowds. Oh my God. Oh my God. What is this? What is this in the sky? Oh my, you see, that would spark a worldwide reaction unlike anything. Now, whether, there are multiple possibilities where Cliff High wasn't really talking about this being artificial, but Dick Allgeier very strongly was suggesting it might be enhanced. It might be not a natural event. Maybe it is something that would occur naturally that is maybe even scheduled to occur, but that's being hijacked or used, manipulated. I don't know. These are all just theories. What was interesting is I watched more of this interview, and there were some more descriptive terms that made my hair stand up, because those were terms that I have recently used on shows where I thought after the show, why did I say that? Why did I use those words? And those were terms and scenarios that the remote viewers saw. So I just didn't want to go too long, but please go look at that clip. Please go look at that High clip. I don't think there's anything anyone can do to prepare, quote unquote, other than the way we always suggest that you have certain necessities stocked up for a little bit, so that that should be a given in this day and age. That should always be a given, but especially in this day and age. And sort of a little bit of always a preparedness plan for if the power goes out, if the internet goes down, or if the structures don't work, what will I do? Where will I meet with my family? What is the plan? So that's like, 101. Other than that, it's stay calm. It's, stick to your spiritual practices and be centered, because it was the centered and balanced human beings that were able to see through the bullshit in 2020, that were able to see through it very, very quickly or immediately. And because we were balanced and because this wasn't surprising to us, we could remain calm and creative in that situation. And we kept going. We kept talking about things and informing people and giving them a balanced state of or a balanced view and perspective versus all the craziness that was going on. So this is if you know that something is a possibility, it might still shock you for a moment. You might still get, a little struck for a minute, but then oh, wait, hold on. Let me take a few deep breaths. Let me center myself. Let me focus. Let me balance. Let me look at this from a broader perspective. And that's what we need. We need millions of people who will react like that if such an event might go down, that will be far better equipped to be a guiding light and leaders for others. This is a given today. This is the whole purpose why we encourage you all to step into your true power as a spiritual human being, as the spirit, which you actually are, because of the uncertainty in the world, because of the systems breaking down, because of the craziness in the media, because of the overwhelming amount of information that's reaching people every day, that's making them oversaturated, apathetic, or over scared, anxious. It requires balancing lights in every community that have that energy, where people can go, oh, you're staying calm. Why are you staying calm? What do you know that I don't know? See, these are the moments when one can stay calm and centered and in charge of their faculties, of their creative powers, that we can positively influence others, and they come and then they listen. Then we have a chance of reaching them in their own awakening to things. So these are all, to me, whatever goes down, I say we turn everything into a win. That's been my motto. Let's turn it into a win. Whatever they throw at us, we'll turn it into a win. We'll continue to do that. So this is on that end. Again, all the links are in the description. Please go check it out. It is, man, these are the old Chinese proverb that sounds like a threat now. Is may you live in interesting times. And don't we live in interesting time, my friends? We surely do. I want to thank you all for your positive thoughts, your comments, your thoughts, your suggestions, your inspirations. Really appreciate it. Also, Christine put a coupon code up for all of you. It's called Freedom, all caps. If you go to our merch store until Sunday, this also supports our work, supports our team, helps us to, pay their salaries, which we do lovingly. We love our team, wonderful people in the background who do editing and researching and communication, and just a great team here at Inspired, very family driven. So thank you. Your purchases, by the way, if you get a t-shirt that you love and wear it and inspire others, it also supports our work. So again, coupon code FREEDOM, all caps, indie-inspired merch store. And we'll keep you updated if there's any new data coming out for the July 15th event. I wouldn't be surprised. And I probably haven't given you my take, and that's for a reason, because why would I add to the data that they gave? Why would I put something in your mind that's unnecessary? The data is there, and then let's see what plays out. All right, my friends, thank you so much for being here with us. We love you. We appreciate you. We'll be back with you again very, very soon.